Hi everyone, welcome back to the STEAM Studio. Today I'm going to be doing a project called Neurographic Drawing, and this is great brain exercise. It's something that I learned about and researched during 2020 when I needed something from my classroom to help my students who were really struggling with stress and trauma and fear and all kinds of negativity due to the circumstances in the world at that time. So this is a great activity to do, and there's no talent required. It's all about slowing down your brain, focusing on simple drawing techniques that I'll talk about in the drawing video, and as well in the drawing video I'm going to talk about more of the benefits of this particular process. But it's neuro means nervous system, and graphic is drawing, so it's really drawing for your nervous system. And it's a great way to help calm everything down and to shift your focus and just feel better. And don't we all need that? So I hope that you will join me. Thank you. Today I am going to demonstrate the mechanics or the process of neurographic drawing. And while I'm doing that, I am going to talk to you a little bit about how it works and what the benefits are. So again, as always, you can use whatever materials you have around your house. For this project, I like to use cardstock. And the reason I like to use cardstock is because it's thicker than printer paper, but it has a smooth surface that's not too absorbent, because again, I like to use my Sharpie markers. You can use whatever you have on hand, doesn't have to be a marker, could be a pencil, whatever you have that's available. A ballpoint pen. I don't recommend crayons because that is not going to allow you to do the detail work that we're going to do today, and it's in the detail work that you're going to get the benefit. So the way this starts is you draw a line that touches two sides of your paper. And you can make the line look however you want to, but for beginning purposes and the demonstration of this video, I'm going to keep them pretty straight because that's going to make it easier for you to understand. The rounding off of the corners is what it's called. And this is where you get the benefit, where there's an intersection. This is the whole basis for the neurographic art, and this is what actually exercises your brain. It's a simple line and filling in, and when it's done, it actually looks like a neuron in the brain, and it creates new neurons while you're doing this. But this is the part that my students struggled with who played lots of video games, because what we're doing is slowing the brain down. In order to really think about what you're doing, you have to take your time, and for those who play lots of video games, that can be very challenging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sharp corner right here at the intersection, and I'm going to do what's called rounding it off. So I'm going to start on one line, and then I'm going to move toward the intersection, and when I get there, I'm going to curve and go to the other line. That's it. That's the movement. But one thing I noticed that my students that play a lot of video games wanted to do is they wanted to make the line go out, like make a circle there. And that is not the objective of the neurographic art. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see the process a little bit more clearly. And one thing you can do if you want to, if you're having a little bit of trouble, you can start with a dot on each line as a starting and an ending point. Then go from your dot toward the center, and then make a little U-turn and come back out to the next line. Then move on to the next point, and we're going to round it off. And finally, the fourth corner, doing the same thing. Okay, so there are the four lines that create your point on the neurographic art. And then what you're going to do is just color it in. And if you watched my earlier video about doodling, you might remember that the process of just putting pen, marker, pencil to paper, making that contact and making marks is also brain exercise, okay? And then if you want to, you can just smooth it out or you can leave it, because the good thing is this is not about making a beautiful piece of art. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be about doing this process so that you're exercising your brain and slowing it down, which is helping you to focus. Then what I'll do, since I finished this intersection, I'm going to do another line from one side of my paper to the other. Any two sides. I'm doing kind of horizontal and vertical right now just for teaching purposes, but once you get the hang of this, you can make it as creative as you want to. So I'm going to start on one line, move toward that center, make a U-turn, and come to the line next to it. While I'm working on this, I want to just talk a little bit about what I learned. The way I came across this was in 2020 when I saw my students really struggling emotionally. They were traumatized from the pandemic and everything that went along with that. And they were also traumatized from spending so much time playing video games. And I was looking for something to help them calm down, to deal with the stress, to deal with the anxiety, depression, PTSD, all of that. And that's when I came across the neurographic drawing. And the method was developed by a Russian psychologist named Pavel Piskarev, I believe is how you pronounce it. I will link one of his articles, a reference to him, in the notes if you want to do a little bit more research on your own. Okay, let's see. I think I'll do a diagonal line. This time I am going to go through more than one line, and I'm going to create 1, 2, 3 intersections. Some people I've watched do this, and you can make up your own mind after you kind of learn the mechanics of it and the basics. Some people will draw all their lines first, all over the paper, and then go back and find the intersections. I find that very confusing, and it doesn't help calm me down. So I like to do one line at a time, round off the corners on the intersections, and then go to my next line. Okay, so back to Dr. Piskarev. He developed this method by combining psychology, neuroscience, and visual thinking. There is science that backs this method up as far as creating new neural connections in your brain when you're doing it. And it also can help with anxiety, depression, ADHD, and suicidal ideation. Also dementia. This would be a good exercise for dementia, but you've got to be able to slow down enough to be able to do the work. So the first part of this would be, if you're going to use this as a method to help calm your brain down, or you want your children to use it, you've got to modify and limit the amount of screen time, because this helps to heal, but the screen time makes it really difficult to do this. So the first thing is balance. Balance is key. And I'm speaking for myself too. I don't play video games. I never have been a video gamer because video games came out when I was in high school and I didn't want to stand in a dark arcade to play the games. But as I was growing up, TV is the technology that was developing at that time, And that is what I struggle with. So I also have to make myself turn off the TV, get out my art supplies, have some quiet or some nice relaxing music, and it helps me calm my brain down. So this is a drawing-based method that, as I said, creates new neural connections in the brain. It creates relaxation and focus while forming those new neural connections. And the good thing is it helps to cement the neural connections in your brain. So what you want to do while you are working on this is not think about things that stress you out. But you can use it as a tool. For example, if you wanted to solve a problem that's frustrating you, that you're thinking about, that you're overthinking, that you can't seem to kind of get out of that loop, then you can do this and use it as a solution sheet. And while you're working, you can be thinking about solutions to the problem. You could even write the solutions in some of the spaces that are created after you do the connections. And you'll see as this comes along, it looks pretty cool in my opinion. I'm going to show you some examples in a minute. It can look many different ways. And it's all about personal preference. But again, the main part is getting these intersections, rounding off these corners, and taking your time to make sure that you're doing it right. Now you may find when you get to certain intersections that are an unusual angle, like this one, I can round off this intersection pretty well. And this one, this is going to be a little more straight, and that's okay. That is okay. It's all about taking your time and also completely coloring it in, because that is part of the process of calming down your brain. You can go back and make lines thicker if you want to. You can smooth edges, whatever you want to do. Just focus on those intersections. And this also engages multiple brain systems while developing fine motor skills. So it's a really great way to help just slow down, to get out of some of those obsessive mind loops that we can get into. And the good thing is you don't have to have any artistic talent to do this. It is all about just the process. Okay? In addition to lines, if you would like to add a shape, you can certainly do that. Just make sure that you do it so that it intersects a line. And then you've got to find those corners also where the shape intersects and round those off. Okay? So I hope that you will try this. And if it's hard at first, if you do it with your children, or if you just do it yourself and you find that it's very challenging because maybe you do spend a lot of time playing video games, which by the way does speed up your brain. And I have read that it speeds up your brain and that it wires your brain for speed and not for content. But I've also read that once that happens that it is irreversible, but I don't agree with that because the brain is very, very plastic and there are lots of things that you can do to change the course you're on if you're having a lot of trouble with overthinking things or negative thinking or stress, anxiety, any of the things that I mentioned before. So, neuro has to do with the nervous system, which of course the brain is part of. Graphic has to do with drawing, so you could really say that this is nervous system or brain drawing. And I want to show you a few examples just to give you an idea what you can do with this. So here's neurographic art. This is done with watercolors. You can see how it can turn into a really nice, what's the word I'm looking for? abstract, a very nice, sorry about that, very nice abstract piece of art. Or you can, again, you can just focus on the lines and connecting them, and you don't have to finish it with color, but just keep in mind that all of this is helpful to the brain. This is neurographic art done on top of a print with some of the Zentangles done around the border. We'll talk about printmaking on another video. This is neurographic art, also on a print. This is neurographic art. This one is Sharpie marker on cardstock like I'm doing today. And this is neurographic art. So you can do whatever you would like to do with this. I think it's also good if you do incorporate some writing in here, some words, some thoughts, some ideas, some problem solving. However you want to use this, it's just going to be good for your brain and your nervous system. So thank you for joining me again today. I hope you will try some neurographic art. I would love to hear your thoughts and what you think of it. If you do try it, please feel free to comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.